I'm Adam,
And I'm Rex.
and this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Hey, Rex.
Adam, remember, freedom delayed is not freedom denied.
Very true, Rex. We're teaching the kids about Juneteenth today.
Ah, June 19th, 1865, the day the news of freedom finally reached Texas. Better late than never, right?
Exactly. It was the day when enslaved people in Galveston were told they were free, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
2.5 years? They sure took their sweet time. Talk about a delayed delivery. Freedom's Express must have been riding a snail.
Or maybe a turtle. But yeah, it's important that the kids understand the significance.
A good dog barks up the right tree. Education is key.
So true. We're having a celebration with history lessons, songs, and food. Any suggestions?
Don't forget about the red soda. It's a tradition. And remember, every dog has its day, but Juneteenth belongs to the people.
Got it. Thanks, Rex. You always know how to put things in perspective.
Just doing my job, Adam. A wise dog knows when to speak and when to beg for treats.
Today's book is a true story that celebrates black joy and inspires children to see their dreams blossom. Growing up in Texas, Opal knew the history of Juneteenth, but she soon discovered that many Americans had never heard of the holiday. Join Opal on her historic journey to recognize and celebrate freedom for all. Let's get started. Opal Lee and What It Means to Be Free. The True Story of the Grandmother of Juneteenth by Faye Duncan. Illustrations by Keturah A. Bobo. Happy Juneteenth Jamboree. Come and join the fun. Opal Lee waved to her great-grandson as he barreled across the park. He zipped past the picnic tables covered with platters of barbecue, baked beans, tomato tarts, and raspberry cobbler. He hurried past a leaping choir draped in purple robes. He danced a jig with cowboys playing fiddles, but they did not stop his flow. Buddy ran to the blooming tree where Opal Lee held court. Her braided hair was a silver crown. Her eyes were twinkling stars. "Great-granddear," Buddy called, "tell us a Juneteenth story." Opal Lee raised her face to the sun as memories of yesteryear filled her vision. When she had been a Texas bud like the children at her feet, Granddaddy Zach told freedom stories on his wooden porch. As Opal Lee remembered his words, she lifted her hands and cheered. "Juneteenth means freedom, and now it's story time." Then Opal Lee began. Once upon a blazing sun, black bodies were bought and sold like cattle. Black men plowed the fields, but were not allowed to own the land. Black women cooked the food, but were not allowed to feast on roast and ribs from the master's table. Black children cleaned the one-room schoolhouses, but were not allowed to read or write. Earning and learning were against the law. Slavery was a thief. American slavery dragged on like a plague until January 1st, 1863. That's when President Lincoln wielded courage and raised his feathered pen. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation with a mighty stroke. On the first day of January in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves shall be forever free. Glory, glory, glory! Freedom was dazzling news like a bright starry night. However, Texas was big and many miles away from Mr. Lincoln. White masters defied his words. Black bodies remained in bondage. They plowed, they cooked, they cleaned. Freedom did not ring through Texas in 1863. It was toiling times in the Lone Star State. For 2 years, 5 months, and 18 more weary days. Then finally, joy jumped on a dancing feet in the Gulf town of Galveston. It was 1865. The day was June 19th. Gordon Granger marched through Galveston with Union Army troops. The general raised his booming voice and spoke these righteous words. "The people of Texas are informed that In accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. Opal danced in a circle. Freedom, hope, and joy divine. Juneteenth means it's freedom time. Can you imagine the excitement? Singing filled the air. Happy tears rolled down like rain. Black families leaped through cotton fields and played tambourines. It was a day of jubilee, perfect for Texas barbecue, watermelon, and sweet potato pie. Delicious delights they had been denied during servitude. Opal told the children, "Remember my words for safekeeping. Remember what I say. Juneteenth is bigger than Texas, singing or dancing bands. Juneteenth is freedom rising, and freedom is for everyone. Juneteenth is you and me." As the children clapped and cheered, Buddy tugged her sleeve. "Great grand dear," he called, "what was Juneteenth like when you were a kid?" Opal unwrapped another story. Blacks and whites lived separately when I was a child. Jim Crow signs littered old Fort Worth in every public place. Black families were banned from Forest Park Zoo, except one day of the year. On Juneteenth, we could picnic, party, and ride the Ferris wheel. I hated that zoo. I loved it too. The birdhouse was my favorite. Buddy groaned and shook his head. "The old days don't sound good." Good and bad work together like the sun and rain. I spent good days on my granddaddy's porch reading poetry books. His farm was my playground. I ran across the fields and climbed the tallest oak. Glory, 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 some memories are chocolate sweet, but some memories cut and bruise. My saddest season started on Juneteenth Day, 1939.
Life is like a tennis ball. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down.
That's true, Rex, like the time I had to say goodbye to my 5th graders last year.
Ah, yes. When one door closes, another one opens, but it still hits you in the tail.
Exactly. It was such a bittersweet moment. I was so proud of how much they had grown.
Every rose has its thorn. Graduation is a thorny rose.
Definitely. They were all so excited for middle school. Saying goodbye was tough.
Change is the only constant, my friend. Like my food bowl, always empty, then full, then empty again.
And there were all those farewell letters they wrote. Half of them made me laugh, the other half made me cry.
Tears of joy and sorrow are but different flavors of the same treat.
Spoken like a true philosopher. You should write a book.
Wisdom for the weary, coming soon to a bookstore near you.
And I'll be first in line. You're a wise dog, Rex.
A wise dog knows his kibble.
An angry mob with flaming sticks burned my family's brand new house. Their broken minds and evil hearts were so afraid of black progress. The police made no arrest. My family moved away. And yet, the embers burn. That fire still lives in me. I learned a big lesson that Juneteenth Day. Freedom is a golden coin. Struggle makes it shine. And no matter how long it takes for freedom to stretch across the land, I will keep on teaching. I will keep on reaching. I will keep on walking. I will keep on talking. I will raise my voice on the prairie and the mountaintop until freedom rings. The children lifted their hands in praise. Freedom, hope, and joy divine. Juneteenth means it's freedom time. Opal winked and chuckled. I think now it's time for barbecue, strawberry cake, and red Juneteenth punch. Glory, glory, glory. Buddy cheered and waved his hands. When he bounced up to leave, Opal hugged him tightly. Then, just like birds in flight, all the children flocked into her arms. Opal studied their shining faces. Black, brown, bronze, tan, gold, white, freckled. As the children dashed away, she marveled at the bright future. She rested against the blooming tree and whispered into the wind, "Remember my words for safekeeping. Remember what I say, freedom is for everyone. Juneteenth is you and me." Juneteenth Red Punch Strawberry Lemonade. In Texas, Big Red is a bottled soft drink, also called red soda water. The red cream soda is often served at Juneteenth celebrations. This punch recipe is easy to make and offers a new puckering and pleasing twist to the traditional red soda water that has been made in Texas since 1937. Ingredients: 2 cups fresh strawberries, stems and leaves removed, or 2 cups thawed frozen strawberries, 1/2 cup sugar, 1 12-ounce can lemonade concentrated and thawed, or 1 cup fresh squeezed lemon juice, about 8 lemons, 7 cups cold water. Instructions: slice the strawberries. Place the ingredients in a blender in order. If you don't have a blender, place the ingredients in a large mixing bowl and use a hand mixer on low speed to combine the punch until smooth. Pulse the mixture a few times, then blend at low speed for 2 minutes. Gradually turn the speed up to medium. Blend until smooth. Pour into a large pitcher or punch bowl. Serve over ice. Mix 10 servings. Recipe courtesy of Angela Shelf Medeiros, author of The New African American Kitchen, The Kitchen Diva Cooks, and The Kitchen Diva's Diabetic Cookbook. Juneteenth Timeline. 1619. 20 captured Africans arrive in Jamestown, Virginia. These are the first Africans sold into slavery in the British North American colonies. July 4th, 1776. Congress adopts the Declaration of Independence, announcing the colony's separation from Great Britain. The liberties given in this document are not extended to enslaved people. September 22, 1862. During the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln announces the Emancipation Proclamation. It sets January 1, 1863 as the date of freedom for over 3 million people living as slaves. His document establishes that the Civil War is a fight against slavery. January 1, 1863. President Abraham Lincoln officially signs the Emancipation Proclamation, releasing black servants from bondage in the Confederacy. Many black men volunteered to join the Union Army and help win the war. April 19, 1865. Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrenders to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. This event ends the Civil War. June 19, 1865. Over 2 years after Lincoln's signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, General Gordon Granger reads the General Order No. 3 in Galveston and ends slavery in Texas. This day is now called Juneteenth. December 16, 1865. The 13th Amendment is ratified when 3/4 of the states approve it. This amendment makes slavery illegal in America. June 19, 1866. The first official Juneteenth celebration takes place in Galveston and other Texas towns and cities. The celebrations grow across the nation in the following years as free blacks migrate beyond the American South. June 1968. During the Poor People's Campaign in Washington, D.C., civil rights leader Ralph Abernathy encourages black Americans to rededicate themselves to celebrating Juneteenth as they pursue economic and civil rights following the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. January 1, 1980. Juneteenth becomes an official state holiday in Texas. 2020. By this time, 47 American states celebrate Juneteenth as a state holiday or day of observance. June 15, 2021. The U.S. Senate and Congress vote to make Juneteenth a national holiday commemorating the end of American slavery. President Joe Biden signs the legislation into law, with grandmother Opal Lee standing at his side. Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth. Opal Lee is a story keeper and historian. She says, if we don't remember what we have been through, our nation is doomed to repeat it. Opal was born in Marshall, Texas on October 7, 1926, but she grew up in Fort Worth. Her grandfather, Zachariah Broaddus Sr., was the son of an enslaved mother. Opal learned from her papa how President Lincoln ended slavery in the Southern Confederate States with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, 1863. But Texas was large, remote, and without protection from Union troops, so the enslaved people there did not receive the news of their freedom until over 2 years later. Finally, on June 19, 1865, General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston and served Lincoln's orders to free the enslaved. This day of freedom is called Juneteenth, a word that combines June and 19th. The first Juneteenth anniversary was celebrated in Texas on June 19, 1866. Black Americans gathered in clearings to feast on vibrant red foods they were denied during servitude, such as barbecue, strawberry pie, and punch made with fresh fruit. They gathered to remember the sorrow of enslavement, as well as to sing and celebrate the joy of liberation. At least 7 freedoms were gained for Black Americans following Juneteenth and the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1865. Blacks could now 1. Work for wages, 2. Own land, 3. Name themselves, 4. Read and write, 5. Serve in the military, 6. Travel, 7. Worship freely. Called the grandmother of Juneteenth, Opal Lee led a movement to make Juneteenth a national holiday. From 2016 to 2020, she walked across America and collected more than 1.5 million signatures for her petition to the U.S. Congress. It was a journey, complete with rejection and disappointments. Nothing stopped her. Opal continued her walk, and when she was 94 years old, President Joe Biden signed legislation to make Juneteenth a national holiday, commemorating the end of American slavery. Opal Lee's constant reminder is wise advice. None of us are free until we're all free, and we aren't free yet. How about that Opal Lee, huh? The wisdom of the ages is often found in the actions of the young at heart. Right. She's called the grandmother of Juneteenth. She walked from Texas to Washington, D.C. to make Juneteenth a national holiday. A dog may trot a mile, but a determined woman can march across the nation. She's really an inspiration to my students. We talked about her in class today. An inspired child is like a puppy with 2 tails. There's no stopping the wagging. Exactly. I wanted them to understand the importance of perseverance. A bone buried deep is worth the dig. That's a good one. I think Opal Lee would agree with you. Wisdom is not just in the bone, but in the finding of it. I'll have to share that with my students. They'll love it. And if you've loved this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm Adam.
And I'm Rex.
And this is Where There's a Williams, There's a Way. Did you know Juneteenth has its own commemorative flag, which is half red and half blue, with a star in the middle. The first version of the flag was created in 1997 by activist Ben Haith, and the current version was first flown in 2000.